My name is Rick Ginn, and I'm here to talk to you about how to get started in wholesaling. If you are new to wholesaling or you just say, hey, what's this thing all about? What's going on? How do I get started? This show is for you today. I'm going to talk about how to get started in wholesaling, and specifically, I'm going to break down actionable steps that you can take so you can get started today, even if you've never done a wholesaling deal. And I'm going to break it down in the 3 different functionalities of wholesaling. And there is no reason after this live stream, at least you have the information, but it is your choice if you want to take action on it. So we're going to go through that in the stream today. If you have a question or a comment, put it in the comment section. That is the best place to get it answered. My name is Rick Ginn. I've been wholesaling for 20 years and I love this business and I've always loved it. I've never left it. And so many people come and go out of wholesaling. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, wholesaling is the greatest wealth building technique with the least amount of risk available in the United States today. I'm somewhat biased, but I've been doing this a long time and I love it. How do we get started in wholesaling? So as I told you, there's 3 basic facets to wholesaling, and I'm going to break them down for you. And I don't want to confuse these with the 3 different departments of wholesaling, which is basically going to be marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. You guys kind of already know that. It's kind of common sense. So me going over that with you. So what we're going to do in a more granular level today, we're going to break it down and just chop these pieces up so you understand how you can get started in wholesaling. So if you know there's 3 steps to wholesaling, you guys like purple today, I feel like purple. Maybe it's like a purple rain moment. Now I'm showing my age by making comments like that, aren't I? The first thing you gotta do is find the deal. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is where you have to put all your energy in the beginning, because the reality is if you can't find a good wholesale deal, you don't have to worry about the rest. It's just the truth. And so many people overgloss this, or they think, well, I'll just wait till someone gives me a deal. No. Scratch that. You have to go out and find the deal. So for you to find a deal, Rick, how do I break that down? And here's what you have to do. You have to select which list you're going to attack, meaning you got to get a list of people that potentially will sell their house to you for a deeply discounted price. And then you got to pick a marketing channel to deliver your message to these people. You cannot start wholesaling unless you get these 2 things locked down first. End of story. I'm going to go a little bit deeper in this presentation and we'll show you how to do it. So to find a deal, you've got to have a list and you got to pick a marketing channel. Step 2, you've got to lock up the deal. Okay, Rick, what does that mean? So in wholesaling, we have to qualify people. And what do I mean by qualifying? People have to meet certain parameters for us to buy the house. Now, you already know the true definition of wholesaling is buying something at a deep discount and reselling the contract. And that's kind of a broad definition term, and I get it. So now you have to understand, if you're going to lock up the deal, then you have to qualify. The reality is, if you talk to 100 people, probably 90 to 95 of them will be disqualified. What do I mean by that? Most of them need realtors. That's all I mean by that. They need nice, pretty realtors to sell their price for a high price, and there's not a lot wrong with the house, and they need a realtor to walk them through that entire transaction. And I'm here to tell you, you don't want those people. So how do we avoid those types of people? Because they're going to be on every list you do. Number 1, we have to do qualifying questions. And so if you're just starting out and you're brand new to this, this is what you have to understand. We at freewholesaling.com, and by the way, if I didn't put it up there, I'm going to put it up there right now here for you. If you are new to this, I'm going to scroll it on the bottom so it's real clear. If you guys want access to our free wholesaling course, it's 100% free. We're never going to charge you anything on it. It's scrolling on the bottom. Go over to freewholesaling.com and you can get access to it. And we teach everything I'm teaching you today in a much more detailed scope, and there's no cost to you. Here's what you do have to do. You have to take an incredible amount of massive action. I can't make you do it. So my job today is inspire you and give you the vision so you can get started in wholesaling. So the first thing we have to do is we have to go through a qualification. And what we do is you're going to see the letters on there, MCTP. Now it's an acronym. Why? Because acronyms simplify things so you don't get screwed up. So most people go out and most gurus are going to give you a script, and this script's going to be long. It's going to be complicated and you're not going to memorize it and you're going to struggle with it. So if you guys have ever gotten a sales call, especially on your cell phone in the middle of the day, you can tell who's on a script and who's not. Your goal and what we teach you here at freewholesaling.com is to teach you how not to sound like you're on a script. How do we do that? Acronyms, they're simple. They worked in grade school. They work still today as adults. Why? Because they're simple. MCTP. So the first one we teach you in there and I'm jumping around based on order of importance, is condition. The C stands for condition. That simply means, what is the condition of the property? That's simply how you ask the seller, and what you're trying to find out if there's any issues with the property. Does it need work? Is the roof bad? Does the house need repairs? And the seller will tell you this information, and that's part of it. So the main thing you have to understand is the condition of the property. Now, in freewholesaling.com, we go through the whole MCTP: motivation, condition, timeline, and price. So the condition is the main one. Usually a house that's in disrepair that needs help, they're typically not going to qualify with your regular realtor. And that's why condition's so imperative. Remember, I'm giving you the core of how to lock up a deal. And usually the one similar thing on all great wholesale deals is the house needed some sort of work. Okay. And it's what we call kind of like a motivated house. So once we lock up the deal and we find out, hey, it's got poor condition, you find out they want to move quickly, you find out they want a discounted price, and we go through everything, we know what we have, what's called a motivated seller. And once you have a motivated seller, guys, it's phenomenal. Now, remember, here's the difference is if you go on like with a realtor, or you go on MLS, or you go on like Zillow, most of those people want the highest price. In all actuality, they typically want above market price. Those typically are not your sellers. Where you find opportunity, especially as a new wholesaler, is when a property has some sort of condition where it's distressed, or there is massive deferred repairs, roof, foundation, windows, boarded up windows, stuff like that. Why? Because most realtors can't sell it through traditional financing. And number two is they want to get rid of the property because usually they have some sort of financial need. That's why the property will round up in that condition. So if you understand the qualifications for locking up a deal, you move on to step number 3. And step number 3 is very, very straightforward: selling your deal. So we've located the property. We've went through our list and our marketing channel. We locked it up. We locked up a deal. How do we do that? We qualified it, condition being the most important part. And now we're selling the deal. Now, remember, we are selling the contract. We are not selling the property. You've got to understand the difference. That realtors sell properties, we sell contract. You can't do it the other way around. If you're going to try to sell a property, you have to go get a real estate license. And I don't teach that course. And honestly, I have no interest in teaching that. If you want to be a licensed realtor, go be a licensed realtor. We don't do that here. So remember, it's selling your deal. You're going to sell it basically on the assignment of a contract, and you are going to sell it to what we call a cash buyer. Now, there's basically 2 types of cash buyers, guys. That's it. There's only 2 in my opinion. There might be more, but I'm simplifying this for you. So there's going to be the flipping cash buyer, and this is the person that you're typically going to see on your A&E shows. And they're the ones that go, I'm going to buy this property from a wholesaler, and I'm going to get a great deal on it. I'm going to fix it up, and I'm selling the market, and I'm going to hit a home run. I love these buyers because they have visions of gold in their head, and 9 times out of 10, they have no idea how much money they're making. They have an estimate, but you got to understand, they are not spending their time out hunting for great deals like you and me are. As a matter of fact, they'd rather pay us than them do it because they have to spend their time on hiring a contractor, hiring a crew, and keeping them on budget, on time, and getting stuff done and making sure there's a profit at the end. Because here's the reality. I don't flip homes. You know why? Because in the end, you never know how much you're going to make. You can actually lose money. People do it all the time. Sometimes there are major, major issues with the property. You don't even know until you start repairing it. And for that reason, that's why I wholesale. I love wholesaling. It's fast. I don't have to deal with contractors. I'm in, I'm out. And it is my favorite way to do deals. But if you decide to do it, you want to do fix and flip, which I did for 2 years. And honestly, guys, I missed wholesaling so much. I never stopped wholesaling, but I was making more money wholesaling. And I found fix and flip actually to be a huge distraction of what I was doing. So the other one is a rental or renter type of property, and that's going to be your landlord. And these are people that are simply out looking for rental properties that create cash flow for them. And a lot of times there's doctors, there's lawyers, but they're regular people, and they go out and buy properties of what they think is a good fit, and they want to rent it out so they get the monthly cash flow, and then they get the long-term appreciation of the property, and then they get the tax benefit of depreciating the property and lowering their tax bill. And these 2 types of cash buyers are the ones we primarily focus. Now, when I'm selling to a fix and flip guy or gal, it's completely different than a landlord. The landlords will typically pay me more and give me less headache. The fix and flips are a little bit more challenging. And if someone buys a lot of fix and flips, I typically avoid them because they want such a deep discount. I don't give my houses away. I give great deals away, but I don't give them away. And just keep those in mind when you're doing. But those are basically the two. Now, how do I get started wholesaling? Well, Rick, that sounds like a great theory. And guys, I hate teaching from theory because theory is just theory. And I sucked in school on like teaching out of textbooks and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's not important, but the more that you can apply what you learn and physically go through the actions, the better you'll retain the information, the much more you'll learn, and the more you're going to prosper in whatever field you do. So there's no exceptions to wholesaling on that. So let's go back to finding a deal, because I told you all the effort, everything you want to do is always going to be in finding the deal. So there's 3 main lists for beginners starting out in wholesaling. I'm telling you, there is 3 main lists. Let me get this scrolling off the bottom because it's driving me nuts. You guys know where to go for your wholesaling. You do now. 3 main lists for beginners. And what do I mean by lists? These are lists that we are going to collect of what I call them prospects. So a prospect, pretend you're hunting for gold. You have to go somewhere and prospect. So you have to pick an area out and I go, I think there's gold in this section, or somebody told you, or you have inside information, and you pick an area. Same thing in wholesaling. You've got to find a group of people that are going to have the highest probability to give you a wholesaling deal. How do I do that? Let's break it down and let's get like very, very specific. The first type of list you want to do is driving for dollars and reverse driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is exactly what it says. I'm going to save you guys $3,000 on a course they're all over the internet. But I mean, driving for dollars has been around forever. You just get in your car, you get on your bike, you get on your running shoes, and you go find ugly houses. That's it. Blue tarps, high grass, mold covering it, boarded up windows, stuff like that. Once you do that, record the address. You can use an app. We provide a service for that. Or you just write it down on a yellow pen and pad and paper. It's really not complicated. And then you're going to go back. You're going to get as many as humanly possible. The more, the better. You write them down. You cross-reference to the property appraiser's address. You get the seller's information. Then you go over to truepeoplesearch.com and you get their phone number. So I'm going to leave you with that because we're going to keep working through it. The reverse driving for dollars is basically once you have this list, you can leave a sticky note on your door. It says, I have a quick question about your house, your name and the phone number. And if you put 100 sticky notes on those types of doors, just like we talked about, probably 5 or 10 will call you. And when they do, you just go through the normal qualification process, MCTP, and find out if you can get a deal done. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this is what we do to get deals. This is what you needed to do, and this is what I did 20 years ago. It has not changed. So many coaches and gurus and mentors try to make everything so super sexy. I have this new software. Guys, go get the deals. Go get them. They're not going to pull up on your computer like you think they are. You've got to go get them. That's the first one. I love driving for dollars because you have a very narrow focus and you can go really deep. And honestly, problem ugly houses are that way for a reason. Remember, real estate is nothing more than a symptom of humans having issues, okay? Financial, emotional, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. If they got a car that's run down, it's because they ran out of money, they lost their job. The same thing happens with the house. You have to understand that. So that's list number 1. And honestly, I think it's probably one of the most valuable lists, especially if you're just starting out. Why? Because it gives you the highest probability. And that's the most important part. Number 2, government list. Me and Zach talk about this till our eyes pop out of our head. Why? Government lists are created at usually your county courthouse for the most part. And these lists are going to be people that are going to have challenges in their life. Let me give you an example. If a house is in some sort of pre-foreclosure, it means they stop making their mortgage payment. Odds are they got financial issues. They're most likely going to need to sell the house. And they usually want to sell it quick. Where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. You don't have to go far from it. So if you go over to freewholesaling.com, I break down the whole thing. You have evictions, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures. You've got divorce lists. You have probates. You have outside liens that you can get from the courthouse. Guys, there's so many, like I can't even name them all. The government lists are the key. You know why? Number 1, they're free. You're going to get some resistance in getting these lists. You have to overcome them with persistence. But don't let the word free scare you, because all the paid lists, everybody you pay, they all go to these government lists to get the information. So if you can just cut in the line and get it first, Speed kills in this business, and you need to just jump all over these lists. Code violations, guys, water shutoff, fire damage properties. It's endless. Go to freewholesaling.com. I'll teach you head to toe on all these lists. Don't be scared because they're free, because they're coming from your taxpayer dollars. They're the most legit lists you give, and they're proven. Over the last 50 years, they are 100% proven. They work. I guarantee they work. The question is, will you work the leads? That's the real question. Now, we talked about free leads. Now we're talking about paid leads, okay? And if you guys get a chance, you can check out, we work with PropStream. You can go with Batch. I would use one of the two big companies. Why? Because they're proven. They're proven. And guys, when you go to a paid list, you got to go to a reputable list where you can call customer service, where you can trust with your credit card. And here's the cool, with most of the paid lists, it's just under like $100 a month. You get a 1 week free trial period, 7 days. You can test it out to see if it works. And from that list, you get 10,000 leads a month. Now, back in the day when I started, I paid a lot more money than that. On average, I would pay up to 15 to 20 cents per lead. You guys multiply that by 10,000, you see why this is such a bargain. I'm telling you, hands down, that works really well. Go to Free Wholesaling, we go into detail. You don't have to do paid lists, but if you want to boost it up to that next notch, and maybe after you get your first deal or two, paid lists are definitely the way to go, because $99 is a lot cheaper than a full-time or even a part-time employee, in my opinion. So the 3 marketing channels. So we talked about channels. So this is the vehicle you're going to use to deliver your message to your motivated sellers on your prospecting list. And it's real simple. And here's the cool part. I'm going to do them in order of importance. I think you should do them. So remember, I don't care how much money you get started in this. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. There's nothing more fulfilling to me when someone has no money, that they reach out and get a deal done with no money, when every guru in America tells them you can't do this unless you have money. But I did it when I had no money, but now you have to pay me so I can show you how to do it. And then you need marketing dollars. I'm telling you guys, don't buy into that crap, because it's honestly, some of the best people I've ever worked with in this business were broke. Why? Because failure was not an option for them, and they were completely committed, and they didn't try to buy their way through it. So many people buy leads and they don't work them because they're not motivated. Listen, when you're hungry, and you're hungry, that's it. So let's go through the main marketing channels. And remember, this is the method you're going to use to reach out to your sellers. So first and foremost, cold calling. Why? Is there more traffic in cold calling today? Yes, but cold calling's been around like ever since they invented the telephone. So the biggest catch in cold calling is you have to skip trace people. So you either have to use batch leads, or you can use True People Search. True People Search is good for 1 or 2, or if you're completely broke and you don't have any money, it is what it is. Just get through it and get it over with. It's not as accurate as batch, but it still works. And if you don't have any money, I'm not going to treat you like every real estate coach and say, come back to me in 6 months when you get it done. Let's put your butt to work for 6 months and show them that you have the will to get through this. Because I rather work with that person than someone that just owes me 10 grand and just show me how to do it. Because here's the reality. If that person puts in 10 grand and you do it for free, you both have to go on the exact same journey. The question is, who's got more will to do it? I know where my bets are on. Cold calling, the time efficiency is unbelievable, because you don't have to get in your car. It doesn't cost you any gas money. So past the skip tracing, it's pretty much free other than your time, and you only have to get the number once. So cold calling, you can touch so many people. Let me ask you, if you had to visit 500 people in person, or like door to door, or you had to call 500 people, which would be more efficient? You already know the answer to that. I'm not even going to answer that. The next one is SMS, which is basically a texting service. And until recently, well, no, we've been doing it a long time. Actually, since 2016, I never even knew this was possible. Now, I'm going to give you the pros and cons on it. The pros are, if you are a one-man or woman army in wholesaling, it is absolutely phenomenal. Like, you click one button, it delivers it. And with the advent of AI today, stuff like this, there's so much stuff there to make it work for you and customize it and basically trick all the opt-out services. I think we have the most wonderful platform for SMS, and I'm going to show it to you. I'll scroll on the bottom. If you want to check it out, go to freewholesaling.com. We have a one and done platform for you if you decide to do SMS, because if you're going to do it on any type of big scale, like 500 more plus, you got to use a service, guys. Otherwise, it's hard to do, because there's so many moving parts to it. But I will tell you, it's extremely efficient. Now, remember, the goal in SMS is always to convert from a text to a phone. Don't try to take deals down on text. I know we're in a society where everybody texts more and more, but I'm here to tell you that the phone is everything. If you get them on a text, try to get them on the phone, because when you get them on the phone, you can talk to them, you can qualify them, it goes much smoother. Very rarely do you just take somebody down on a text message alone, and you have to understand that. So we have cold calling, SMS, and then the third one is going to be direct mail. I don't recommend you start out with direct mail, but if you go to freewholesaling.com, we teach you how to do it. Some of you have the budget for you. Some of you've done some deals, and that is going to be, it still works. And here's the pros and cons of direct mail. Number one, it's still legal. There's nothing illegal about sending a piece of direct mail. You can't get in trouble for it as long as you have an honest, ethical offer on your postcard. And I recommend postcards only because they're efficient and they're cheap. The downside is they cost. So it's going to cost you on average between 55 and 60 cents per postcard. So that can add up, but you got to look at it as like a sales machine before you. The biggest problem with direct mail is most people don't understand how it works. Direct mail is a minimum of a 3-month process. Anything less than that, you're wasting your time and money. So wait till you get at least $3,000 set aside before you commit to direct mail, or you're most likely going to fail doing it. That's why I put it down at number 3. I prefer you have a couple deals on your belt before you flip over to direct mail. But here's the really good news. I know every trick to direct mail because I've done it for 20 years and I've never stopped doing it. And I understand it better than almost anybody in the United States because I'm completely committed to doing it. And I know to a dollar. So my average return on direct mail is 4 to 5 times a return on my money. That means for every dollar I invest, I get $4 back. Now, if you had a machine that could do that, you would do it too. The reality is you got to learn how to talk to sellers. You got to know how to close people, and you have to understand the entire process. And once you do, then it goes like clockwork. So when you first start out direct mail, a lot of people's goal is just to try to break even, and then they try to go to 2 times their money, then they get to 3 times, and then with a lot of experience, they can get to 4 to 5 times return. Guys, direct mail works. The only people who say direct mail doesn't work is the ones that didn't understand how to do it and they quit after 30 days. It is a long-term approach. So my theory always in wholesaling is I want to win the marathon. I'm going to let the sprinters go. And I've watched people run by me in wholesaling all my life for the last 20 years. And I'm telling you, they all quit. They all run out of gas. Marathon, think marathon runner. You have to pace yourself. You have to keep going. Marathon runners never quit. Sprinters quit all the time. They quit, they stop, and they speed up. Look how fast I'm going. I don't care how fast you're going. Are you going to finish the race? And if you look at it like that, you'll do that. So these are the 3 mediums, marketing channels you want to start out when you want to get your first wholesale deal. Cold calling, SMS, then direct mail. And you've got to do them in that order. And if anyone tells you other, I promise you they're trying to sell you on a service. I wouldn't do it any other way. Now, a beautiful thing is when you get really, really busy, you can do a combination of all 3. But start with cold calling, SMS, and then tie in direct mail. Now, the really cool thing is direct mail is you can flip-flop between either one of those 2 if you want to add that to your campaign. So it's a real compliment. So, and then last but not least is you guys have to make a schedule and stick to it. You have to schedule, hey, I'm doing X amount of marketing this month. This is how I'm delivering it. And this is how I'm going to keep myself accountable. Because the reality is so many people are like, listen, I'm going to hire a coach to keep me accountable. Coaches don't keep you accountable. You keep yourself accountable, because if you can't be accountable to yourself, why would you think paying someone's going to be accountable? Like at the end of the day, you pay them. So if you succeed or not, they want you to succeed, but their life's not going to stop if you don't succeed. So the difference on accountability is when you take personal accountability for what you do. And the easiest way to do that is set up a plan and stick to it. So if you're committing to make 500 cold calls a day and you committed to that 5 days a week, you need to have 2,500 logged by the end of that week. And if you didn't, what's stopping you? And be truthful and honest with yourself. And the more honest you are, the better you can get through this. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, why do you think a stranger is going to help you out with it? They might yell at you, motivate you, but at the end of the day, it's always you that has to do the work. So in wholesaling, remember, no matter how you do it, paid, free, whatever, you have to take the journey. Nobody skips the journey. There's no free ride in the journey. I've already paid my tax. I still pay it every day. And you have to too. If you think you're going to go through wholesaling and have no pain, you're probably better off not starting. It's just the truth. So I'm here to tell you the truth because I'm not a for-hire coach. So I can tell you the unfiltered truth. And that's the important part of it.